For decades, the Black Knight satellite has hovered between myth and mystery, an alleged extraterrestrial object orbiting Earth, shrouded in secrecy, misdirection, and wonder. Some call it the oldest artificial satellite in our skies, sent to observe humanity long before our first rockets reached space. Others dismiss it as space debris, a mere remnant of human activity misidentified and exaggerated by overactive imaginations. Yet the truth remains elusive, drifting silently in Earth's orbit, a dark enigma that refuses to fade. Let's dive into the story. The story of the Black Knight satellite doesn't begin with a single discovery, but rather with a tapestry of incidents spanning more than a century. Events that, when woven together, created one of the most enduring legends of the space age. The first whispers trace back to 1899, when the brilliant inventor Nikola Tesla was experimenting with wireless energy transmission at his laboratory in Colorado Springs. Tesla claimed to have detected an unusual, repeating signal coming from space. He described it as a rhythmic pattern, too organized to be random. In Tesla's words, the signals seemed to come from intelligent sources. At the time, no human-made satellites existed, and the idea of extraterrestrial communication was still science fiction. Tesla speculated that these signals might originate from another world, though scientists later suggested that he may have picked up natural radio emissions or pulsars. Conspiracy theorists would later reinterpret his findings as the first communication attempt from the Black Knight satellite. Fast forward to the 1950s, the dawn of the Cold War and the space race. In 1954, several American newspapers, including the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the San Francisco Examiner, ran stories claiming that the U.S. Air Force had detected two unknown satellites orbiting Earth. This was 3 years before the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the world's first official satellite. The press speculated wildly. Some believed the objects were secret Russian devices. Others suggested alien origins. The reports were quickly denied by U.S. authorities, who attributed the sightings to tracking errors. Yet to conspiracy enthusiasts, the timing was suspicious, an early sign that governments were covering up something extraordinary. The mystery deepened in 1960, when the U.S. Navy detected a dark object in a polar orbit, a trajectory that was impossible for any man-made satellite at that time. The Navy initially thought it might be a Soviet spy satellite, but further investigation identified it as a fragment of the Discoverer 8 satellite, part of the Corona spy program. However, conspiracy theorists weren't satisfied. They pointed out that the Corona debris had a different orbital path and reflective signature than the mysterious dark object. To them, this was clear evidence of the Black Knight's independent existence. An ancient satellite, maintaining a steady polar orbit and occasionally making its presence known. Perhaps the most famous and visually compelling evidence came in 1998, during NASA's STS-88 mission, the first flight to assemble the International Space Station. Astronauts aboard the Endeavour captured several photographs of a strange, dark, angular object drifting in orbit. NASA officially explained the images as thermal insulation blankets that had accidentally come loose during extravehicular activity. These materials, once detached, could appear unusually shaped and reflect light in odd ways, creating illusions of solid structures. Yet, when NASA uploaded the photographs to its public archives, conspiracy theorists immediately declared them proof of the Black Knight satellite. The object's asymmetrical design, sharp edges, and eerie, spacecraft-like outlines seemed too complex to be mere debris. The photos quickly went viral online, cementing the Black Knight's place in pop culture and UFO lore. Tesla's 1899 signal would re-emerge in the narrative again and again, strengthened by later claims of mysterious radio transmissions allegedly detected from Earth's orbit. Some amateur radio operators throughout the 20th century reported receiving repeating signals that didn't match known satellites or celestial sources. In particular, during the 1960s and 1970s, a few ham radio enthusiasts claimed to have intercepted long-delayed echoes, radio signals that seemed to bounce back to Earth several seconds after transmission. To some, this delay suggested an artificial relay, possibly from a non-human satellite. Researchers later attributed these echoes to natural ionospheric reflections, but to those who believed in the Black Night, this was yet another sign that something or someone was listening. Descriptions of the Black Night vary, though certain details repeat across reports. Witnesses and photos describe it as a dark, irregularly shaped object, roughly the size of a small bus, appearing to have metallic surfaces and sharp angular structures. Maintaining a polar orbit, which runs north to south around Earth, an unusual trajectory for early satellites, typically launched eastward to take advantage of Earth's rotation. Astronomers and radar operators have occasionally tracked unidentified objects in such orbits, though most are later identified as fragments of spent rockets or defunct satellites. Still, the consistency of the Black Knight's supposed orbit and shape continues to intrigue believers. Number 1. The alien probe theory. The most popular explanation among UFO researchers is that the Black Knight is an extraterrestrial probe, possibly part of an ancient monitoring system placed in orbit thousands of years ago. Proponents of this idea suggest it's been observing humanity since prehistoric times, transmitting information back to its creators. Some even link it to the Bracewell probe concept, a theoretical autonomous spacecraft that could communicate with developing civilizations. Number 2. The lost civilization hypothesis. Others believe the Black Knight may not be alien at all, but rather a relic of a lost human civilization, such as Atlantis or an advanced pre-Ice Age society. According to this view, our ancestors might have achieved technological feats far beyond what mainstream history acknowledges, launching the Black Knight as a lasting monument to their existence. Number 3. The government or military satellite theory. A more grounded, though equally secretive, theory is that the object is a classified military or intelligence satellite, perhaps from the early days of the Cold War. During that period, both the US and the Soviet Union launched numerous covert missions. A few were never publicly documented, leaving plenty of room for speculation. Number 4. The space debris explanation. NASA and most scientists maintain that the Black Knight is simply space debris. A loose blanket, a fragment of metal, or a piece of an old satellite reflecting sunlight in unusual ways. Space debris can take on strange shapes, tumble unpredictably, and even appear to follow steady orbits for short periods, creating the illusion of deliberate movement. Several details keep the mystery alive, mainly its shape and structure. The object's odd geometry doesn't match known debris. It appears structured, with flat panels, edges, and angles that resemble manufactured components. The radio signals. Repeated claims of transmissions traced to its direction, though unconfirmed, add an element of communication mystery. While common today, it was nearly impossible during the early satellite era, giving earlier sightings an eerie credibility. Over a century, there were multiple independent incidents like Tesla's signals, 1950 sightings, 1960 Navy detection, 1998 photos. All link loosely together, suggesting a continuous pattern rather than isolated accidents. Part of the Black Knight's power lies not in evidence, but in imagination. It embodies our human tendency to find meaning in chaos, to see design where randomness rules. The satellite's legend thrived because it combines science, myth, and mystery into a single compelling narrative. In the mid-20th century, space was the new frontier. Humanity's expansion beyond Earth coincided with rising paranoia about surveillance, nuclear war, and alien contact. The idea of an ancient, silent observer watching from above resonated deeply with those fears. Culturally, the Black Knight became a metaphor for hidden knowledge, cosmic secrets, and the boundaries of human understanding. It's been featured in documentaries, books, and countless online theories. Even music and art have drawn inspiration from its shadowy image, portraying it as a guardian, a spy, or a relic from a forgotten age. NASA has consistently denied any evidence of an alien satellite. According to official records, the 1954 newspaper reports were based on misinterpreted radar data. The 1960 detection was a fragment of an American reconnaissance satellite. The 1998 photos clearly show a thermal blanket lost during the Endeavour mission, confirmed by astronauts on the scene. NASA's open archives allow anyone to examine the photos and telemetry data, which show no indication of a structured, persistent object in polar orbit. Still, for believers, this transparency only deepens suspicion. If the truth were simple, why would the myth endure? Today, with thousands of satellites orbiting Earth, space agencies maintain precise catalogs of every known object larger than 10 centimeters. The U.S. Space Surveillance Network and other organizations track debris, satellites, and even fragments from rocket launches. None of these records list anything resembling the Black Knight. Advanced telescopes and radar systems can identify objects by orbit, mass, and reflectivity. No consistent, unidentified object matching the Black Knight's descriptions appears in these observations. Scientists suggest that the myth persists because of pareidolia, the human brain's tendency to recognize familiar shapes in ambiguous images. Just as we see faces in clouds, we may see spacecraft in the patterns of drifting debris. Yet, despite scientific explanations, the legend refuses to die. The Black Knight remains a symbol of mystery, a shadow that moves just beyond the limits of verified truth. Its story captures the same sense of awe that ancient civilizations felt when they looked to the stars and wondered who might be watching. It challenges us to question what we think we know. After all, space is vast and largely unexplored. Humanity has mapped only a fraction of the objects orbiting our planet and even less of the cosmos beyond. Could there be something truly ancient up there, waiting to be rediscovered? The Black Knight satellite exists in a unique space between history and imagination. It's not merely a physical object. It's a story that's evolved with humanity's growing understanding of the universe. Whether it began with Tesla's mysterious signals, the 1950s newspaper reports, or the NASA photographs, the Black Knight reflects our deepest curiosity and fear, that we are not alone, and that something beyond human comprehension might be observing us. NASA may call it space junk. Scientists may trace every reflection and orbit, but legends have a power that logic cannot erase. Somewhere above, in the vast darkness surrounding our blue planet, the idea of the Black Knight still drifts, a silent watcher, reminding us that for all our knowledge and exploration, some mysteries may never be fully explained. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.